episode 103.
Are you ready to take your eBay business to the next level? Then hold on, because Ron and Ali are going to take you into the fast lane with the latest tips and insights from some of the biggest and most successful sellers here on the So You Wanna Sell on eBay podcast.
Welcome once again to another episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey, everyone. From Greeley, Colorado, we have Dave Smith with us today. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great.
Great to have you,
Awesome.
Dave. Thanks for joining us.
It's an honor.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Well, Dave is a family man with 5 kids and so far 1 grandchild. He has spent 30-plus years working with cows, people, and equipment in the dairy and farming industry, which has contributed to feeding a lot of people. And now, 5 years later, he supplies to animal agricultural industry, primarily the dairy farmers. Dave has sold on eBay before in the early 2000s for a short while and then got back in 2014.
Wow, that's brilliant. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a cow. So you've been working with cows for 30 years.
Yes, that's a conservative number, honestly, but yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, and do you talk to the cows? I think if I was like a cow farmer, I'd be like, do you name them? Right, that's Frank over there. That's Steve.
Does anybody listening to this episode think that this is going to go real far away from where we need to be? Because all of a sudden I'm thinking this is not going to go.
You can't have cows in a bio without me saying something. That's just not possible. That's cool,
true.
Dave. Well, thanks for joining us. It's been brilliant. So so what's your specialist then now? Then you sell on eBay. You do that while out in the fields, do you, or you're on your app while doing the cows?
No, I no longer do cows. I did that for the bulk of my life, so now I'm in sales to agriculture, and I do eBay on weekends and at night, and I do it with my current job. I travel a lot, so it's made it a little bit more challenging of late with my travel schedule. But I do eBay on weekends and at night, and my wife and daughter and one of my sons does packing and shipping when I am out of town. Nice. And it kind of works very well.
Very cool, man. Hey, listen, Dave, first of all, thanks for joining us today, man. I know you're out on travel right now with your job, and we really appreciate you joining us today. So you've got like Ali kind of alluded to, you've got a really interesting twist to your whole story here. I mean, I don't think we've ever had any farmers on our show before, or if they haven't admitted it. But no, it's really cool that you have taken this, 30 years of working in the industry, and then now you're moving into the agricultural, primarily the dairy farmers and stuff. So maybe we can talk about how you went from that to how did you start eBay? How did that whole thing start, and to where you're at right now? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, briefly, back in roughly 2004, my wife and I, started doing some eBay. She was, I was on the farm, and she had a job that she was eventually laid off from. And to replace that income, we thought, well, let's sell on eBay. Let's look at that. And we did that. It was quite different than it is today. And we did that successfully for a year and a half, 2 years, and then relocated to Colorado, and that went away. And it was always in the back of my mind. I enjoy buying and selling and sourcing, and it's just a passion that I've always enjoyed. And eBay brought a way to do it electronically, obviously. And so got back into it in 2014, just on a whim, just as a hobby or an interest, and didn't really expect it to do a lot, I guess, at the time. And then it's turned into something that's been very, very consistent and a lot of fun. The people that I've met online and in person do the sourcing, and it's just become a passion that, doesn't go away. Really, really enjoy it. My whole family does.
Wow.
That's really cool. So you got 5 kids. Have you incorporated them into the business?
Yeah, 2 of my kids are all grown. My youngest is 17 and still is at home. And I have a son that joins in, and for instance this evening we were texting, and he was shipping out some orders that came in, And he does that for us, and he helps me source from time to time. But yeah, it's been very, very. So yeah, I'm a family guy. Most of my kids are grown, but my kids are my grown kids do help me source. They give me ideas, and from time to time they'll bring items to sell. And or give me ideas.
I mean, it's brilliant. The thing with you though, Dave, is you've got such a variety. I mean, your kids must have some serious fun.
Yeah, life is fun, and it's so yeah. And our family is a very sarcastic, fun, loving family. So yeah, it's always fun.
You'd fit right in at my house then.
Because I'm looking here. I'm looking at you've got deer antlers. And then you've got underneath that a sealed Doom PlayStation 4 game. I mean, your variety is brilliant. So is this all like thrifting? I mean, you're not going down the local thrift store and finding deer antlers, are you?
No, not very often. I have done that, actually, and a couple times found antlers at a thrift store, but believe it or not. But, we do a little bit of thrift store sourcing, but not a lot. Some of our books that we'll sell will come from a thrift store. So we do a little bit of thrift store, but not really much. I have contacts to source antlers that we will use to provide for dog chews, because antlers, and we're very passionate about our pets. Our dogs are part of our family. So dogs really enjoy chewing on deer or elk antlers because. And real quickly here, an antler, which is considered an extraskeletal. In other words, it's a skeleton that grows on the outside of the body, and so it's a bone technically. But it's actually the fastest growing bone on the planet, which makes it a very nutrient dense product. So dogs crave them, and in the wild, when deer and elk will shed their antlers every spring. They fall to the ground, and the critters in the forest, in the woods, consume them for the vital nutrients that they have, which is heavily in protein and phosphorus and calcium. So dogs naturally crave them because so I started doing that with my dogs, and then I thought, well, I'm going to help other people, pet owners, and so that continues to be a very large part of what we do on eBay.
Nice. So have you ever tried bringing the whole elk home and seeing if he prefers it with the elk or without the elk?
Well, yes, but the elk that we bring home are typically dead, and we consume them along with the dogs. In other words, hamburger and steak.
I'm glad Ron asked that question, because that would have just been that weird English guy otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
Ron and Ali will be right back after this short break.
Do you want to set yourself apart from other eBay sellers? Want to look like one of the big brands? How would you like to feel confident that you could do it yourself, but know that the support is there if you get stuck? Now you can create your branded eBay store and have your store doing more. With Auction Pro Template's premium do-it-yourself eBay template. This template is loaded with tools and features you won't find in any other system. Go to yourstoredoingmore.com now to see what's included. That's yourstoredoingmore.com.
Be sure to check out SoYouWannaSellOnEBay.com for the latest podcasts and all the information you need to get selling fast.
So is there any restrictions on this sort of stuff then? Like these antlers, are they considered like an ivory thing? There's nothing like that, is there?
No, they're not. Certain countries do not allow the import of them without a lot of red tape, but no. Because our antlers that we provide to our seller or to our buyers are naturally shed. Like I said, every spring, deer and elk, and their antlers fall off naturally, and then they grow new ones. So no animals are harmed in the acquisition of these antlers. We simply go out a couple of times a year and it's great exercise. You're walking the woods and the mountains and searching for these every spring and summer, and you find them, you take them home. And so, there's not a lot of restrictions because it's just a natural process that, goes on every year. And another big source or another big buyer for our antlers are crafters who make jewelry, ink pens, and the list goes on and on and on. Crafters make all kinds of crafts with our antlers that we provide them. And we also craft as well. And and we sell the finished product. Like right now, I'm making antler ink pens that we sell, and they're very beautiful. They're beautiful, and they're a work of art. They're one of a kind, each and every one. But a lot of them are buyers. We provide all over the U.S. and Canada.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys sit there and roam the woods? I mean, I'm going through your store here. My goodness, man, you guys have a ton of deer and elk, and all these antlers. I mean, like, how do you find all these?
Well, it's like I said, every spring, wherever you're at in the U.S., the antlers fall off naturally. It's called the shedding. They shed them, and so it's great exercise. You go out on a weekend and just hike the hills, and you find them.
You see dollar bills laying in the woods. Don't you?
Exactly.
Yes and no. It's always like an Easter egg hunt. It's always the adventure and finding them. So for me and for us, it's really not something. We don't see dollar signs in them. Obviously, we do make dollars off of them, but more importantly, it's great exercise. It's a great family hobby, and then it's just a natural resource. They're renewable because there's more every year. They naturally fall off.
That is really cool.
So how do you know? How do you know what to price them at?
That is a good question, Ellie. And I try to price them fairly because there's other competitors that are doing the same thing on eBay and other platforms. And I try to be competitive. So we do tend. So the pricing, I base it off of others that are on eBay and elsewhere that they're sold, and be very fair. And we have a lot of repeat customers that are just buying almost monthly, well, sometimes weekly. So to answer your question, the pricing is really based off of the market and what the going rate is. But so another thing real quickly here is if you go into the pet stores, the big box stores, PetSmart, Petco, et cetera, you will find these antlers for sale in there commercially for sale. And we are over half less expensive than the big box stores for the same product. So we represent a huge savings for the suburbanites and the pet owners across the country that go to these large box stores. We're going to be less than half the cost. So
that's amazing. I tell you what, it's really cool. Plus, I'm like a lot of people out here that would prefer to buy from you than go to, the big box stores and buy. I mean, I just want to, we are all about, helping the entrepreneur, and this is cool. I might have to buy some of these for my golden retriever, man. And, and just see how he likes them. I mean, because you're saying he would love these as dog chews, right?
Absolutely. They, it's very rare that, dogs do not, other than, some of the smaller breeds like a Chihuahua, they're obviously very small, would need a very small piece. But no, a golden retriever, you will make that dog happier than he's been in his life. Typically, that's what we see. And, our customer satisfaction, which is the dogs that are receiving these, are, I get glowing reports and messages in eBay messengers constantly, and I get pictures from pet owners with the dog on the back steps or in the backyard, and they're showing me pictures of their pets with their new chew.
Jeez,
it's fun. Those are that's fun when you receive that kind of messages, and it makes it all this is fun.
No, it sounds great. I'll tell you what, there is a good thing here, and I've been waiting for someone like you to come on the show here, Dave, is we had a question from Jessica from San Diego, and she talked about these percentages. I noticed you're using these discounts, these 20% off. The problem that she had with it seems to be quite a weird thing that you actually have to have it up for a week first, and then you bring it. How do you use these percentage things? I mean, you can't just put a straight percentage on a price that, let's say you want to sell this for $16, you can't just put the percentage on because it would, don't you have to put the price up first and then bring it down? I mean, here I am, haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. That's why you're here, Dave.
Well, I'm not saying the way I do it's the way or the correct way or the best way. I'm constantly tweaking my when I go to market, and but oftentimes, it will be listed for a week, and then I'll put sometimes the entire store on sale. And sometimes I will select items and put them on sale. And that for me is to hopefully increase my my results in search, that I will come up in people's searches. So list it for 20, put 20% off in hopes of getting better results in search. And And then oftentimes the majority of our listings, we do best offer, again, to hopefully increase our presence and people finding us when they're surfing eBay.
So you're changing all the prices on your eBay store. You bring them up for a week, and then you add the percentage and bring them down. Do you?
No, but almost never do we raise the price of an item on eBay. When we start at a price, if we do any price changes, they're going to be lowering the price. I very, very rarely ever edit, revise an item and raise the price. Very, very rarely. So no, typically if I revise an item, I'm going to be lowering the price rather than raising it. And then, typically, like I said, 1 or 2 weeks, if they're not getting a lot of views or whatever, then I will, make the best offer, put it on sale, just to try to get more visibility.
We talked about all the deer things because Ali and I were both fascinated with all this, and I will be ordering some new dog chews and make my dog my best friend again. But I do notice you got a lot of variety in your store here. I mean, I'm looking at like classic and old books. You got women's outdoor wear. You've got Southwest collectibles. And cool vintage stuff. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And I see that you got a Mac Davis Stop and Smell the Roses record album. I mean, very good condition. That's 1974. That's really cool. A lot of people like Mac Davis in the day. But you do have a lot of variety. And I'm guessing, are you thrifting? Are you garage sailing? How are you getting some of those things?
Some thrifting from time to time. Garage sales are great. Estate sales are even better. And so Southwest collectibles, Native American type of items. I collect them. I'm very passionate about them. So I really enjoy selling, trading those types of items. Southwest collectibles, Native American, classic and old books, primarily on the West, but not exclusively. But we're sourcing these through a variety of ways. And sometimes, I have a very good close friend and colleague that what he does and has done for 35 years is he's been buying storage units well before storage wars was ever even thought of, obviously, and he's been very successful. So he comes across large collections of things, and I will trade with him certain things that he collects, and then he has access to so much. And where he does his storage, where buys his storage units are only in the West, primarily Wyoming, where they're in. So that's how I will come across stuff. And, like I said, I will trade because he collects vintage toys. And if I come across a vintage toy that he has interest in, I can trade that to him for oftentimes antlers because he finds storage units that are full of antlers and other stuff out of the state of Wyoming, for example.
Wow. Yeah. And you know what? I'm just trying to figure out, where would a guy like you get a rattlesnake skin? I mean, I'm seeing this 43-incher, man. I mean, where do you come across something like that?
Well, that's what's taking out the deers. I mean, that's the deer issue right there. This snake takes out the deers, the antlers fall off, and then the snake shreds its skin. I mean, it's obvious, Ron.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't catch that, man. My bad.
Obviously, this rattlesnake was harmed in the but that a lot of people's feelings will not be hurt by that. But this rattlesnake skin I actually got from a guy I traded some books with, and the rattlesnake skin, people buy those for all kinds of crafting. And growing up in Arizona as a kid until I was 21 years old, I grew up in Arizona, which is rattlesnake heaven. Then I moved in Texas and lived there for 13 years. We had lots of rattlesnakes, so they've been a big part of my life. I respect them. I'm scared to death of them, but so the rattlesnake skins are used for so many different things, everything from hat bands to you name it. And people buy those, and because that rattlesnake skin that you saw listed also has the rattles still attached. And so that's a Southwest collectible or deco. To people use it for the man cave, and but again, a lot of people use them for so many different crafts. It's amazing. So that one actually came across, traded some books that I had purchased at a garage sale to a gentleman for that rattlesnake. And then, I have it on my wall and I look at it in my office every day. Because you know what? I'm going to trade that on eBay and then I'm going to have fun in the process, and somebody will enjoy it and use it. And that's what I like to do.
So because you have such unique items, I mean, have you had anybody ever try to return something like a rattlesnake skin or some of the antlers? I mean, because, obviously we all know about, positive feedback is such a big deal, right? I mean, have you ever had anybody buy something like a rattlesnake skin that, they'd said, that's not what I thought and wanted to return it or something like that?
No, it's very, very rare that I have any returns. And I would say, out of 1,000 items, I might, and again, as you noticed and have mentioned, we have a broad spectrum of items but across the board, the antlers for dog chews and the antlers for crafting, et cetera, and these Southwest collectibles, out of 1,000 of my last 1,000 sales, maybe 5 returns. And most of those were on some oddball things that were not of the antler type, or, it could have been, the occasional shirt or something that I sold. So no, we have very, very few returns. And you mentioned feedback. Yeah, feedback is vital, and it is what it is. At times, you can't make everybody happy, but I try my very best. Customer satisfaction is our primary goal when we're selling these things, and when in the process, we want to make them very happy. And I will bend over backwards. And but again, it's so rare. That we seldom have a return, no matter what it is. But if we do, we do. And again, even if it's the buyer's remorse or whatever, I will pay return shipping. I don't even question it. Absolutely never.
And that's what a lot of people have come up with. They've come to that conclusion, basically, that a $10 hat that I want to return is not worth you getting a negative feedback. So, if I bought one of I see your ladies' camo hats or something, and if I bought one of those for $10.30, I get the hat, and if somebody returned it, for you as a businessman, you have the keen eye to know that it's just cheaper to just return it. Return or refund the money and be done with it, as opposed to trying to fight them saying, it was in perfect shape, or, whatever.
No, life's too short, and to even concern myself with it. And so no questions asked to return. And again, like I said, I will offer and pay return shipping, even if it's the buyer changed their mind. But 9 times out of 10, they don't even request it, or I'll offer it. No. But I'm willing to do whatever the buyer needs. And I don't, because I don't concern myself with that at all, because I want to move on to the next item, and no, don't even question it.
Love it.
That's sage advice. That's sage advice for anybody out there. If you're out there right now and you're thinking about starting an eBay business or an eBay store and getting off the ground, what Dave just said is key for you to know, is that you just cannot get over. You have to get over any negative comments, because if you have to return something, just return it. Don't even ask. Don't even let it ruin your day. Just return the item, or refund the money, and be done with it, because it's just not worth it, and you'll be better off to do that.
Yeah. And if I had any, if somebody was asking me for advice to become a seller or to improve their eBay business, the one thing that I would say I try to run our eBay business with a day in, day out, and is to separate business from in person. Don't take anything personal. Throughout this online business transactions through eBay, you got to separate emotions from business, and do not take anything personal. You separate emotions from business, and if you can do that, which can be difficult at times because we're all human, and it's not personal. So, and squabbling and assuming that somebody's scamming you, and separate emotions. If you can separate your emotions from your business, you'll go a long way.
Great advice, Dave. Really great advice. So what's you mentioned that you travel a lot, you're doing a lot of business otherwise. So you got your family, is their process so you will buy the stuff and then you'll go on holiday and then they'll do all the work. Is that what that was, or?
Well, my travel schedule has increased dramatically in the last 7 months. So but again, I'm typically my travel is 2 to 3 days. This week it's all week, but at a time that I'm gone. So their packaging and shipping without me is pretty minimal. Mm-hmm. So yes, and then while I'm gone, I have the ability, to source from the road, and oftentimes if I can take it back with me on the plane, I will. But I'll ship it back, and it'll be waiting for me when I get home. And then I can process it and get it. So it brings that as an opportunity to source in different locations. And but yeah, the family really, really helps out. Can't do it without them.
I'm just curious, has TSA ever stopped you for having deer antlers in your suitcase?
Yes, I can tell you some stories about TSA, and yes.
But that's the great thing about your job, though, isn't it? I mean, it's exactly what you just said. You've got the mindset of an entrepreneur. You're traveling around. You're doing work for the other business and stuff. But then you can just stop off and, hey, that would look good on my eBay. I like that. Wow, I'm in Texas. Let's get a whip and a cowboy hat. Do you know what I mean? It's fantastic.
Yes, and sometimes when I'm traveling, I come across something, and I can source for eBay. But oftentimes I'll buy stuff and put it on my wall or on my desk or on my shelf and observe it daily in my office. And then, it's time to put that on eBay, because guess what? I can sell that and buy another one or buy something similar. So it's not all about sourcing to immediately to list it, because I enjoy the stuff. I like to be passionate about most of what I sell on eBay. So but so a lot of times if I'm buying something large, I'll ship it back home from. But yeah, I have flown on airplanes with antlers, and it's made some interesting conversations at TSA. But
yeah, I'm quite sure of that, actually.
And another thing that these, I mentioned crafting is a lot of crafters, but one of the key things that people make with them is knife handles. I've sold antlers to people who were making knives for the Civil War reenactment tips, and I've actually sent some antlers for a gentleman who was a curator at a museum in London and was making some swords. It was just amazing. The people I've met and where some of our antlers have ended up and for what use has been really, really interesting.
There's a lot of shows out there, man, on Discovery Channel and things like that, where guys actually make a lot of really cool things with antlers. I mean, it is really cool. There's a Mountain Man is one. One of the guys up in the mountains, he actually he does that for a living, for income. He gets the antlers and he makes knife handles for them. Yes, got a tremendous number of repeat customers because I know they can come and trust and. No, so that's the number of repeat customers is really satisfying, and again, where I mentioned some buyers send me pictures of their pets with their new dog chew out of antler. I have many buyers who will send me pictures of their finished projects of some really awesome knives made out of Damascus steel that are just pieces of art, yet they're very functional. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
It's time for a quick break, but the guys will be right back here on the So You Want to Sell on eBay podcast.
What's more exciting than starting your own eBay empire with one of Auction Pro Template's custom eBay store and listing template packages? How about saving yourself $200 when you do it? That's right. Right now, you can take advantage of starting your own totally custom eBay store for the insanely low price of $697 when you use promo code SAVE200 during checkout at AuctionProTemplates.com. You still get all of the amazing features and benefits as before, like a custom designed eBay store and matching custom eBay listing design, video tutorials, software, custom branding, 1 year free hosting, and so much more. But now you get to save yourself $200 doing it. So celebrate the start of something awesome with $200 in savings when you order your very own custom eBay store and listing template package. Go to AuctionProTemplates.com and check out all of the features and benefits of having a totally custom eBay store and use promo code SAVE200 today. David Kosciuszko is a guy who went bankrupt twice before the age of 30. He failed in business 3 times, lost everything, and even had to move his family into the basement of his mother's house. After a lot of trial and error, he learned how to buy used phones off Craigslist to sell on eBay. Within 8 months of selling on eBay, he did $250,000 in sales, working off a couch in his mother's basement. Now, he teaches thousands of people around the country his method on how he consistently sells close to $20,000 a month in used phones and electronics on eBay. Get his free ebook now at www.flipphonesforprofit.com.
We're back with more tips, insights, and interviews with Ron and Ali.
That's cool. So where do you see yourself in the future then, Dave? Are you going to expand this? Stuff like that? What are you envisioning? Another eBay store or?
Perhaps, actually contemplating the idea of opening another store, and kind of, making that store a little bit more niche oriented. In other words, narrow on the items listed. But what I do see is growth and, in getting a website going with my own website, not for the purpose of selling off that website, but to generate traffic to my eBay store. Right. An information source. But so I see that coming in the near term future. Matter of fact, I already got the domain name. But increasing and improving basically my store, my listings, improving the photos, improving everything about what we do there, and increasing the number of items, because I've got a new niche that I have really increased my crafting. I'm making some custom pins that are made out of antlers that are just phenomenal, and and I've got orders already, and that I've got to get done when I finally have some time. But so I see that as increasing our handmade crafts that we're making out of antler and some other stuff that are crafted, and doing them on eBay, because Etsy, may be a very good venue, a very good platform for a lot of crafters, but by and large, eBay still is the place to be. I know other crafters that are doing something similar, and they struggle on Etsy, yet their eBay stays consistent. So I see us growing in that regard, and its overall number of listings.
Cool. So how does your wife, obviously it's a partnership, right? I mean, you and your wife are doing this, right? And you've been doing it for some time. What role does she have in this? Because she's going to be listening to this, and you got to say great things about her, right?
Now's your time, Dave.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, Debbie is awesome. She's my best friend. We've been married almost 30 years. And so she supports me fully and is looking forward to the growth. And she still to this day shakes her head and says, I can't believe you're doing this. You've made these antlers sell, and people are paying, in some cases, a lot of money for high grade, really beautiful. And she just shakes her head. I mean, every couple of weeks we have a conversation. She says, I still can't believe that you've made this sustainable by just, and so no, I see her as my best friend, and very, very supportive. She works a full-time job and keeps her very busy. We're very busy people, but no, it's all good. And it's, again, and that's why our username on eBay is ZFFamily13, because it's all about family. And that's why I do it for them, to, increase the retirement fund. But at the end of the day, it's not all about money. It's about enjoying what I do, having passion for what we're doing there, and just having a blast. But yeah, Debbie is number one.
Nice answer, mate. She's going to like that one. You're in the good books for a few weeks there. And you're right.
I'm tearing up over here, man.
I know. You give me some tissues, for God's sake. And you're right. It's like me and Ron, we always say this as well. Family's number one here. This is why we do it as well. It's to build something for the posse. So we've run out of time here, Dave, but I can tell that you love doing what you do. And that's the important message. I was talking to a real big power seller eBay the other day, and he talks about as soon as it becomes not fun, he's going to stop. But, he enjoys it so much, and I can sense that you do it as well, Dave. You enjoy doing this. It's not a chore to sell on eBay. It's like a passion for you, and it just comes out, and you're selling some fun stuff. I vision you in the woods with your camo gear on, hunting your deer. So it's brilliant, man. So thanks for joining us, Dave. It's been fantastic to have you on the show.
Well, likewise, an honor. You guys, I've listened to your podcast since they came out, gentlemen, and nice. It's often, usually when I listen to your podcast, I'm usually on an airplane.
Oh,
but
cool.
And my final thought, I guess, is one of the reasons that we enjoy it so much is because the culture that is eBay. It's not, and I'm not slamming Amazon by saying this, but the feel that we get, it's a neighborhood, it's a culture, it's a good group. It's got a good feel to it.
Definitely.
And that's what makes it so enjoyable, rather than just the generic, crunching numbers and sending stuff. And no, this is more of a family environment overall. It's just a good group. It's a culture, if you will.
Love it. I mean, absolutely. That's exactly it. We'll post all the notes from today's interview on our show notes page, which can be found at www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/show notes. Dave, before you head out into the forest and get some more antlers, how can people get hold of you?
You can, people can reach me, obviously at my eBay store, ZiaFamily13, and my email address is ziafamily.13@gmail.com for any questions. Obviously eBay messages. So look forward to hearing from folks, and would be happy to help with pets and or craft projects or anything else in our store. We like selling.
Love the enthusiasm. That's Zia as in Z-I-A, correct?
Yeah, Zia, Z-I-A.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
We didn't get into how and why we named it that, but we'd be happy to share.
Well, that's podcast 2. I mean, that's to come. Season 2, we'll bring you back on and we'll find out more. So thanks, Dave, for spending the time with us. We thoroughly enjoyed it. From everyone here at So You Want to Sell on eBay, I'm Ali Young.
And I'm Ron LeBeau.
That's all for this episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. Be sure to check out our next episode or any past episodes by going online to soyouwannasellonebay.com. Also, be sure to follow us on your favorite social media sites, facebook.com/So You Want to Sell on eBay, and Twitter @Your eBay Podcast. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy selling.
Have an idea for a topic or know someone who would like to be on the show? Let us know. Just go to www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/interview. We look forward to hearing from you. This podcast was produced in part by Pro Voice Works.